Hello, hello. We're gonna be back here with another one. I'm not gonna do no pause this time though. I need a bit of a tad of a break from that. That said, I actually do need to rebind my pause key. I haven't done that since. But anyways, we're gonna be doing Assault A. And probably gonna be doing Cannibal here. Cannibal's just not the one that I have recorded here. I did lose all my progress a while ago, which is why a lot of these ships don't have all the commanders that I have actually done the ship with. But, Cannibal is a commander I do like with this ship. Well, it's really any of the boarding commanders. This ship benefits from a lot of them. Archmage is also... I would actually suggest Archmage for a ship like this. Archmage has... two psyker slots on and with a ship that doesn't have any psyker slots, that's pretty nice. Now, going with Cannibal here, essentially what I'm going to be relying upon is Cannibal doing most of the damage. Because, so, the thing with the ship is that you really want boarding support on it. Like, you really want it. Because these berserkers don't board well over time. They'll lose, like, they only have base 30 HP, and even though they do have the DPS reduction aspect on them, that's not enough to, like, save enough of their HP to allow them to consistently board. You need some sort of boarding support to preserve their HP, or you need healing. And going with Archmage, which I mentioned earlier, allows you to essentially do that with like Rejuvenate or any spell that you find early on. Like, there's a lot of good early boarding support spells, but the logic with Cannibal, as I said earlier, is just let him do most of the work. Now, there isn't anywhere I can run these berserkers, which means he will take a fair bit of damage. I'll recall him, and let's put Cannibal and then solo board him into like a 1x1 or something. Yeah. Yeah, let's put him in Sensors. Sensors isn't like a great boarding room, but you know, it'll work. In fact, what I could probably do here is not board anything, but I want to get some kills with Cannibal because, you know, Cannibal's disadvantage is that he can't just heal off stuff. So I do want to get kills, and that essentially means that if you board with Cannibal, you're very much incentivized to finish it through, because you want to get the kills, you want to heal up your guy. Because, like, if I recalled there halfway through, when things weren't looking as good with his HP, I would have essentially lost all the future HP. Or rather, I would have lost any healing that I would have gotten on that jump. But because I went through with it, I saw some low HP crew members, hunted those guys down, I was able to finish the event with full HP. I'm gonna repair this breach. I don't want to get in a situation where this isn't repaired, and then I have to deal with that when I can't really do it. So, like, if Engines gets hit for like 1 damage and then I have to go repair it and has a breach in it, that could put me in a very bad situation. So this jump I am just gonna solo board. I need their HP. Alright, let's do this. I'm going to go around damaging crew first, and then once he gets like below 15 HP, I'm just gonna kill something, so I get max value out of that. Let's go in here, and we should kill the husk coming in. Actually, yeah, kill the husk going in. No, come back here. Alright, and then we can just finish this guy off. And that's the nice thing with Cannibal, is that if you can kill them with your boarding crew, which is generally just Cannibal, early on, but well, at least with this ship. With other ships, they'll probably be often accompanied with something else. But if you can do it, it does mean that you can kind of just finish off the whole ship by doing it, and there's not really a penalty to doing so. While this is tempting, I don't have Psyker slots. I would have to get something like... Either I'll find the spell I want here, and then try to get a Psyker slot later on, or I get something like Death Cultist or Blood Witch here, and I think it's more valuable to go for systems. I believe I can hit that other shot, but I have to check again. Yeah, I can. Okay. We got Shield Charger here. One scrap off, though. That's unfortunate. I could get the Incendiary Missile. Well, hold on. I can sell a Gladius for Shield Charger. Yeah, let's just put it there. I think just Shield Charger is gonna be pretty normal to go for. A Flare Beam, 50 scrap, nice. Like, it's never a bad option to go for it. I'm not gonna risk anything. Alright, let's go board. You know what? Maybe I really just shouldn't be boarding up a Berserker here. Because I could preserve his HP for when I actually fight something that I need a second border on. Well, if I do get into a situation like that, it's likely going to be that I'll have to recall anyway. So I'm in a situation where when I can board, I don't need to board the Berserker. Although it does help make things a bit faster. And then when I don't need to board the Berserker, I probably can't do it with just Cannibal. So I really need to find boarding support so I can make these Berserkers more useful. I'm gonna get the Engineer here, just for the Machine Cult events, and also, you know, as I said last video, Engineer is a pretty, like, the better Husk, just to chill on your ship, do stuff. So, he'll be chill to have around. Alright, and there's a... and look at that. From the Machine Priest, I get a Conqueror, so now I can have a useful border. Look at that. And that's why we like Machine Priests. Okay. That'll make my boarding a lot better. Conqueror is tanky enough where you can do some decent consistent boarding. Granted, his HP is only 25 higher than a Berserker, but with the -1 DPS innate to War Cultists, it makes a lot more of a difference on War Cultists to have 1 more HP than any other unit. And that's why, like, Gladiatrix with, like, Fortress Shield is so powerful, because Gladiatrix has that innate, and then if you add a Fortress Shield on top of that, you have a Gladiatrix with something like 45 HP, -2 DPS, and that makes them absurdly tanky. You can do the same thing with the double slot commanders like Capitalist and Cybernetic. You can make those commanders with 2 shields insanely tanky, and like the oh, I don't have enough scrap for that, but well, I can just buy something. But anyway, with Cybernetic more specifically, and also Capitalist, but to a lesser degree because his base DPS is 2, but you know, with both of those, you can do something like double Assault Shield, get 4 DPS from your tool slots, get absurdly tanky with -2 DPS and your respectable base HP, and then you can add a actual weapon on top of that. And it just, you end up being really tanky and able to output a lot of damage. Like, one of the few things that can solo board in this game without, like, Tower of Skulls or something is, like, Cybernetic. Like, if you do Cybernetic with, like, a Electro Maw and 2 Assault Shields, that is very good at solo boarding. Like, if it's, like, 4 knights, then yeah, he'll take a lot of damage. But he's only taking 3 damage from all of them, which, you know, isn't terrible for the amount of pressure he's taking, and you can always get something like Drain Strength to preserve his HP even more. Like, in that case, it just completely does it. So if you're boarding into, like, Doom Engine, you get 4 War Knights in the room, you can board into it, Drain Strength, because Drain Strength and Shields will compound. But yeah, you can just use that, and it's really quite strong. Now, obviously, it's not suggested, but you can do it. I'm gonna run out of this. Actually, this isn't worth it. Okay. And fire in the room. Okay. Thanks. I need to use Claymore here. I wanted to get a boarding into shields if I could, but, you know, it isn't to be. Alright. I should probably do what I'm saying here at some point, Cyberfuse with double shield. Like, double assault shield isn't, like, consistent to get in any respect. But, you know, it is a theoretical build that you can do. It's much more often that you just get two of, like, any shield, and you'll still be absurdly tanky, you just won't have the same amount of DPS, because, like, Cyberfuse double assault shield with, Electromall fighting a knight is 11 DPS, and then you also get stun on top of that once you get the kill, and because you're so tanky, you can get the kill pretty consistently. Alright. I'll maybe try that on one of the next boarding ships, which, you know, isn't going to be soon after this ship, because the next two, Assault B and Assault C, are both ships that don't start with boarding. Now, Assault B is I find a bit more interesting because, you know, it has some really fun boarding you can do with it, where you do have Theoric Gate on one of the Greater Warseers, but we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, that's Sector 1. Let's go to Blood Cult. Desolate is a bit gambly. It can be shorter or longer than, like, a normal sector, like Blood Cult, Death Cult, War Cult, Techno Cult. So, yeah, it's really, yeah, I'm just gonna go Blood Cult. It's more consistent, and I'd rather go for that. Desolate does have some decent events in it, but that's kind of like where it stops. Like, it's just some decent events, and I would rather have two. Like, good events is all well and good, but if you're losing like 2 events to get decent events, it's not worth it. And that's like with Desolate sectors, you can just lose up to, like, I think it is, like, compared to the maximum, like the max roll, you can lose up to like 4 scrap giving like events and combat and whatnot, and it's not good. You want to avoid it at all costs. That isn't to say it is a bad sector. When it does roll well, it's quite nice, but it does rely on it rolling well. Let's hit this. I get full value out of it when it hits, and then I'll let that hit. It already hit this room, so a thing with Siege Beam is it won't double dip damage if you, like, have your shield off rather, and then hits, and then it goes on, resist it, and then if you turn off your shield again, it'll get damaged again. It won't do that. Which, you know, it seems like, oh yeah, duh, of course it would. But I think, like, there have been some very funky things in this game in the past. Like, an example of that would be Necrophage's, one of Necrophage's artilleries would shoot the projectiles, but they just wouldn't appear ever on your side, so it just did nothing for, like, the longest time until they finally patched that. And the artillery that was doing that was the displacement one, which, you know, once it could fire, it was just like an occasional shield breaker that was annoying, but it was a little funny when it was happening. A little funky. Okay, another fleshling. Alright, repair that. I'm gonna put this guy on throne. That's probably the best place. Servo husks are pretty nice for, like, this is kind of the side grade of engineer. Like, Technocult units, I mean, thematically this kind of makes sense, but Technocult units are some of the best units to just chill on your ship and operate systems and repair stuff, because 50% immunities are generally pretty good for, like, repairing systems. Like, if you get poison and shields, you'll generally, like, if you really need to repair that, you'll send techno-cultists and machine priests. Well, techno-cultist is a term that would describe both machine husks and machine priests. Well, machine slaves. But, yeah, I'm sure you get the point. These guys are good at repairing stuff due to their base immunities, and also, like, Engineer has the repair bonus. But, in addition to that, they're all, like, because they're so good at repairing stuff, that also means they generally want to be in systems that are important. Which means, if they're in systems that are important, because they're good at repairing those systems, that means they just end up being the perfect crew to just have on your ship due to it. Because they'll generally be in a position where they can do it. Like, engineers, for me, are almost always placed in either shields, weapons, or, like, Hull Reaper shield chargers, something like that. And I don't really place them anywhere else. And then, like, servo husks, I'll usually put on, like, piloting, weapons bay doors, because they also, like, they don't really need to repair as fast, but they have more HP, and this is where, like, the side grade aspect of it comes in, where Engineer is better at repairing, and Servo Husk is better at doing combat. So, something like doors, where what's usually threatening doors is, like, something that gets into it, literally, with, boarding. That means you want to have a crew in there that's, you know, decent at combat. Like, he's not great at it, but he's definitely, like, not terrible. Like, base 30 HP for anti-boarding is perfectly respectable, because you're gonna be reinforcing the room. You should be reinforcing the room that he's in, if it's not piloting. And the reason why I have him on piloting is because I don't care about piloting getting repaired fast, but I do want to get it repaired at some point. So if there's, like, poison in the room, I can just keep him, like, say a Putrefactor hits piloting. I can just keep him in the room, he'll repair it, and it'll be fine. If I do judge that it does need to be repaired. Alright. It's tempting to go Mercenary Broker here, because, yeah, this has systems. This is a really good shop for systems, so I'll go to the crew shop. Yep. Alright, glad to be in the shop. Please. Double no event? Oh no, this one's... Oh, this one's fun. Okay, if you do this one, you get a Corsair. If you do this one, you get a Hull Repair Patch. If you do this one, I think you get an Imperial Recruit? I think you also get more, like, scrap from these, so you do want to do these. Never do this one. I'm actually not certain what this one does, but I'm pretty sure it's not good. Because a lot of the ones where you rob poor people, you don't get a lot of stuff, which, you know, makes sense. So, the lesson is don't rob poor people. You should do what they want you to do, because then they'll just, like, they'll join you. And that's a lot better than robbing them. Because, you know, bodies are more valuable. Yeah, there's the Corsair. Oh, yeah. You get the... So you get the little scrap from the fight, and then you get the recruit if you offer protection, but you won't get the extra scrap reward, if I recall. Okay. That's pretty good. Hey, look, Assault Shield. We also got Soul Thresher. Elder Blood Mage is tempting. For the sake... Oh, but I could do Ritualist. I could do Ritualist with Psychic Shriek. Because I want to keep Transfusion for the Berserkers, right? Like, the War Knight is very tempting here. I will say that much. Like, War Knight is, like... So, the best play here, just for consistency, is just buy the War Knight. It's always good. But I'm very tempted to get the Ritualist, so I can, like, enable the Berserkers, because I do want to show off these Berserkers, because Berserkers are typically not, like, well-regarded crew, I'm pretty sure. Because, like, on their own, they're, like, you really need to do boarding with these guys. They can't do anything else. Like, they have poor repair speed, and their base HP is, like, it's okay for anti-boarding, but it's nothing special. And when all you can really do with these guys is anti-boarding, without support, it really makes berserkers look really bad. And I do want to show these guys off being really good, because berserkers can be insane, because, like, if we ignore the HP of a berserker, just like imagine that doesn't exist, you're only losing 2 DPS from Chaos Knight, and when you have double weapon slot, that can be compensated for. And like, when you're working with weapons, losing 2 DPS isn't great, but it's not the end of the world. You can definitely be okay with it. Like, this is what Cannibal works with. Like, you have base 3 DPS on a double weapon slot commander, and Cannibal is still very good on his base DPS before he gets kills. So, Berserkers will as well. Now... So, yeah, I'll get Ritualist, I'll get the Soul Thresher. I don't know if I get Assault Shield, because if I'm doing 4-man boarding, what's likely gonna happen is I'm going to board with 2 Berserkers, Conqueror, and Cannibal, and none of those guys have tool slots. In fact, none of them have Psyker slots either. How am I gonna do 4-man boarding? I have to do it through Launchpad, it seems. So I'm gonna go look for something like Shadowfields. Looks like I will have to do something like that. Well, I could also find like Chaos Rift, and I can use the Blood Spear to hit doors. So there's ways around it. And I have Blood Spear in my inventory. But I don't think this is worth it. I'll get the Scythe though. Because, you know, weapon slots. Gotta fill these guys out. Alright, got 20 HP? 21. I'm not gonna get the hull repair. I'm not too pressured on my hull, so I would prefer the husk. Let's put this guy in weapons, give him some repair speed. Would be nice if I got like a single 1-power weapon. Rot Blaster is not good. I would never suggest ever using Rot Blaster. It's not a good weapon. Poisoning your own crew with your own boarding is not something I would ever suggest. Because, like, you'll take equal damage from it. Your crew and the enemy crew, so unless if you have poison immunity, it's not great. Look at the reagents there. More fleshlings. Ma. Alright, where's my Corsair? Yeah, engines. Okay. Actually, I think I'll put the Corsair indoors. Funnily enough, I would consider Corsair the better Berserker most of the time, because he just has more DPS base than the Berserker. And most of the time, if you're using a Berserker without going hard boarding on them, with boarding support, Corsair ends up being better. Because with anti-boarding, you're usually like ganging up like on 1 or 2 crew members in a room. And in that case, you kind of like cycle the crew members around, and in those cases, the HP is less of a consideration. You would much rather just have more DPS, and that's what Corsairs do. So they're kind of outclassed by a different crew member, and they're also cheaper, Corsairs. So you to get value out of these guys, you really have to get the most value out of them, you have to board. Now, a thing that the ship does have, which I was gonna mention earlier, but I got sidetracked. You start with a scavenger. And this allows you to always go to Imperial Fortresses and, you know, not worry about, like, getting, like, prevented from being able to take these chests. You can just run them through, get all the free stuff, and just, you know, leave. I would like Thrice Cursed Reliquary from Necrophage. This is a run for it, because now that I have this fusion charge, getting like a husk with Dark Matter Prisms and then another husk with the fusion charge means I can fusion charge, because my boarding team is not going to have tool slots. This is a lot of systems, but none of them are Hull Reaper. I did get my 1-power 1-shot weapon here, and I essentially became Interdictor A with that armament setup, just with a lot better crew. I think I'll get Siege Beam. Graviton Field Generator is... Graviton is really tempting. Because, like, the Graviton helps Berserkers a ton. Like, it's actually kind of insane. I think I'll go for it. Oh, where do I want to put it? Hold on, I can just do this and look at my ship properly. Here is a decent room. This is also a decent room. I think I'll put it here and then put Hull Reaper here. So I generally don't like putting offensive systems next to each other. Like, granted, I put Hull Reaper here, it's next to this. So maybe I should put it here, but I also want it next to the vent, so it's easy to do so. Because if I put it here... Oh, I could put it here. And then I can just, like, vent from down here, and it's still close to shields. I think I'll put Hull Reaper here. But, yeah, I don't like putting offensive systems next to each other for the reason that, like, say a beam swipe hits weapons, and then I have Hull Reaper here. It'll go, whir, and then I'll get disabled on 2 of my things, and that's not great. If I put Hull Reaper here, it's the same difference, where it's, like, disrupts both of them. And then it can also do Shield Charger, which is not great. Generally, you want to spread out your important systems, but on a lot of these ships, you kind of have to if you want them to be in, like, decent rooms as well. So the compromise there is to put them in rooms that are still good, but are, like, far away enough from, you know, far away enough from other important systems that are, like, in the same category. Like, I want my defense systems away from each other. Because, like, if shields gets hit, I really want Shield Charger even more. At least with level 2 shields. Because then I can Shield Charger on one shield and they'll still resist most of the projectiles, and vice versa. If Shield Charger gets disrupted, I need the most I can get. With my shields to resist the most damage. And just applying that logic, you want to spread them out a bit. I am going to put Siege Beam here. It's still a good room, and Siege Beam is one of the weapons, like, if Siege Beam gets hit, it's not that bad. Like, usually you're running it at level 2, and most beams do 1 damage, so what ends up happening is they'll do 1 damage to Siege Beam, but Siege Beam's still active. And fun fact about Siege Beam, it'll still do 2 damage, 1 power, if it's level 2. It'll just have a shorter beam length. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. Okay. Mercenary Broker, Shaman. I'm not certain. I'll go to Shaman for, like, try to fish for some boarding support, or, like, maybe I'll get a good Psychic crew member I can put a Etheric Gate on as well. It does rely on me getting, like, you know, decent scrap in this fight, but, you know, if it does happen, that'd be nice, and if it doesn't happen, I can just buy some boarding support, or if I just find a Etheric Gate, then, you know. Alright, let's go like this, he'll path up, and then I'll kill him. Okay. And we are going to Shaman. Okay. Let me in shields, I suppose, because I can't go to weapons. This is gonna come from the top right. It's switched, I can pause here. And I can actually catch that. And then he'll go by. Nice. 33 scrap. And let's move on. Shaman. Let me to the Shaman. I think I might get scrap from this, I'm not certain. Some of these boarding events you'll get scrap from or reward, and some of them it's just like, hey, here's a border, you get nothing. Which, this is one of those events. Always wait for, like, a couple seconds after each fight. There are some events where it just takes, like, a solid second to get your reward. So, and you can jump away in time to miss it, so just keep that in mind. Aether Stride. It's not Etheric Gate, but it's still good. I'm never using Rock Blaster. I shouldn't have this anymore. I want this guy. He would also be great, but I can't. Well, actually, I could. I could get him. I could sell Storm 1, right? And then I could sell like a weapon or something, and then I could get High Magister. I know I bought Buonic, but yeah, this is 9 scrap. It's just enough. 80, and then sell 30, and then get this. And then I'll work with no armament, which is, you know, fine. Yeah, I think I'll do it. Okay. Now that we have him, what we can do instead is this. I'll board with 1 berserker, so it's not going to be as, like, berserker-centric. Actually, he has the same base DPS as the Corsair. Well, the same DPS as the base DPS of Corsair, rather. But he's slightly better. Yeah. Oh, another thing about Corsairs that are just better than the other is that Corsairs get an armor slot, so even if you are boarding with them, they can get more HP. Up to 60. Which, you know, 60 HP is perfectly respectable. That's a Gorgothian Legionnaire's level of HP. Now, granted, you need Chaos Armor for it. But there are runs where it happens, and then Corsair becomes like a good, like just a good boarder. Like no actual disadvantage. Like HP is respectable, DPS is good. In fact, it's above average. All around pretty good. I should probably put you on my first bar. Keybind that to 1. Look, the repair drones, finding those is gonna be nice. Like, really just for Necrobarge. For the face change. Just having that to repair shields or... Well, shields is less important in Necrobarge, but for weapons, it's great. Let's do normal launch bay. I don't want to do the other way. Because I don't want to put 4 men on their crew, and I don't want to put High Magister over when I don't need to. Okay. Granted, I don't have Thorn, so I can't follow up. Which isn't ideal. Electromall? Hello. Yeah. Heavy player's not that good. Alright. Let's put Electromall on you. Because while I didn't board with him there, in the fights that it's gonna matter, like with the 2x2s, like where they're all in the same room, I want Electromall on that guy, so I'll give it to him. The alternative is putting it on the Conqueror, which is also good. What's Conqueror have again? I believe it's Soul Thresher, yeah. Which, yeah, Soul Thresher is also gonna be pretty good. Because, you know, DPS scaling. And DPS scaling actually works really well with Graviton, because you'll be able to get 1 kill, and then you'll be able to get another kill, and then you'll keep DPS scaling, getting kills faster and faster. Because you're focusing down like 1 crew member at a time, essentially. And that just makes it so that you can get even more damage faster, compared to just like boarding, they're already in the room. And then you have to kill essentially 2 at the same time. So you get the DPS scaling not as quickly. A lot of these early ships are not gonna have 2x2s, but when they do, it'll be very, very good. Let's Psychic Shriek. And then Graviton. Took a little bit of damage there, but I have the Sorosk in there to repair that. So we'll be good. Machine Pistol. let's put that on the berserker. The nice thing with berserkers, though, if you are boarding with them, or even just anti-boarding, you'll always have, like, well, you'll have a pretty nice buffer where you can always just, like, slap some random weapons into and you'll get value out of it. I'm gonna do Imperial Battle Arc. I'm pretty sure I can take it with this crew. This crew looks good enough. Like, with Soul Thresher and Cannibal, I imagine I'll be able to get enough crew kills on Imperial Battle Arc to just obliterate their crew. Well, probably not obliterate, that's probably an exaggeration, but I should be able to do quite well. I'm moving all these guys to empty rooms so that they don't hit my crew. That's the thing with radiums that you can do at high enough torment, they always hit a system room. So, yeah. I feel like I've said that so many times at this point, but I should probably keep saying it because, you know, people who haven't watched those videos might watch this one, and I should say it. Alright, anyway. That aside, how do I want to take this? There's no demons to sabotage. I have no suffocation immunities. Well, I say there's no demons to sabotage. What I mean by that is there's no demon that will move to my crew. Because, like, Worm doesn't do that. Alright, let's claim the chest. And I may as well kill this guy. Cannibal is usually pretty decent into possessed ships, but with the inherent lack of them, of demons on the ship, it means he's actually going to be relatively poor into it. Now, I can't lose too much HP on Cannibal. That would be very bad. As losing too much HP means that I won't be able to board into a normal fight, and I won't be able to heal. So I need to be very careful. I'm going to use Siege Beam here, just to get... Well, I do have transfusions, but that's pretty minor healing. Although transfusion does save me the ability to, like, board into ships. Yeah, I'm just going to let that hit. Doing a lot of pause buffering here, just to make sure I don't miss anything. Let's slap that into weapons, and then Siege Beam. Yeah, Siege Beam finishes it. Another machine pistol. I'm out of slots, although I do have a combat knife on one of these guys. Should be on maybe you, I believe. No. Machine pistol's not really that good, I'll take the husk, but I'm pretty sure you have... No, the Berserker has combat knife. Okay. What do you have again, then? Ah, it's just Power Sword. Oh, right, Power Sword you start. Huh? Aye. I'll look at the shop after I do a little bit of transfusing. Okay. 3, 4, 5. This isn't really that useful into it. This could be pretty useful if I put it on Cannibal. Because I could, like, solo board Cannibal into a demonic ship. Yeah, I think I will get that. Because I am going to struggle with demonic ships. Radium 2 is actually, like, shockingly good into Imperial Battle Arc. Like, it's kind of insane. Like, what you can do is you can sabotage, like, you can go into shields, you can get a fair few kills, and then what you can do is you can continuously fire Radium 2 into that room, and you will get a lot of value out of it. Like, compared to other enemies, like normal enemies, you don't really get into a situation where you need to do that, because you'll usually just be able to kill all their crew. And with, like, the bosses, you don't really want to do that, because if you crew kill them, it'll activate the demonic card. And, like, the mini-bosses are, like, the exception to this, except Necrophage, where you can crew kill them, And they have enough crew that something like Radium 2, getting a bunch of crew damage without having to exchange any yourself, gets a lot of value. Like, it's the same on Voltaic Cruiser, but Voltaic's a bit easier to board into because there's a lot more crew to just trigger kills on. Now, going into this, there is going to be one scribe, and I'm gonna want to kill that scribe. In fact, hold on, I'll take the cryofoam, funnily enough. Cryofoam's gonna be... Weirdly enough, cryofoam being the worst consumable is, like, this is the one case where it's actually good. Imperial Battle Arc does enough fire where having cryofoam to give you a bit of a breather from it is kind of nice. I'm gonna sell a tactical shield, I won't really be using it. And then I'll get repair drones. Get some hull repair. Oh, I got a min hull repair, didn't I? That was not a lot. Only 20 hull. Oh, no, I didn't. I think I got 10 hull-ish. I don't recall. Thing is, 20 hull going into Imperial Battle Arc isn't, you know, best. But it's not the worst. I'm tempted to get Macro Lance here just to, like, disable an artillery. Buy myself some time. But I... might also be better to just get level 2 shields to also buy myself time, you know? So it's like one or the other. Would this be good to have for the boss? Yeah. Would this be good to have for normal fights? Yeah, it would. I think this is worth it as like a purchase to get now, and then get level 2 shields after the mini boss. Yeah. Okay. Oh, hold on. Is there actually a way that I could get level 2 shields? Not without selling stuff I don't want to. Maybe if I didn't buy the pressure suit, I would have been able to, like, through selling Bloodsmear. But that has since passed. I'm gonna get one upgrade into shields. I don't do buffer on shields a lot in Void War. It's very good in FTL, but not... In Void War, because things are so much less armament-centric, you're a lot better off just saving the scrap to buy something in a shop. Compared to FTL, where shops are so inconsistent. You're better off trying to preserve your hull, which is a lot more important in that game. Okay. So, but I am going to get it here, because I do want to always be able to use Shield Charger, even if my shields gets damaged slightly. Because I'm not going to be able to get level 2 shields to essentially do the same thing. But, you know, a little bit more survivable. And I have the scrap for it, and I'm going to upgrade it right after the mini-boss anyway, so I don't see a disadvantage in doing so. Is there anything that I can use prior? It doesn't look like it. Do I put fusions on you? Because what I can do is I can launch bay you over, fusion shields, and then I can farm with siege beam. I think that's a good, like, alternate thing to have, and I'll put repair drones on this engineer. Because I already have a ton of flashlings. Okay. And where are the husks? You're here. I'm probably gonna put you in weapons so you can path out of it. Because, so, I'm gonna want to dodge a mine bolt coming out, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna path these guys down here, this guy up here, this guy over here, these guys over here, and this guy is out here. This guy will go over here, and then you'll be on the enemy ship. And if this takes the 15 damage, it sucks, but I can rejuvenate. Alright, let's go into Battle Arc. So, a thing with this is I can't really avoid the scribe getting a purify off, because Cannibal's gonna inflict slow on anything he touches, and that will essentially immediately make the scribe go, oh, I need to purify, and then he'll purify, so I won't be able to avoid it, but I do want the scribe dead. Oh, is he not? He's not. Okay, I actually was able to immediately kill him. That's great. Because, so, if you didn't know, Cannibal applies slow when he attacks. It's not something, it's not his, like, oh, this is super good kind of thing. It's like, it's there, and you usually don't have to, like, think about it, but you do have to recall that, you know, it is there, it does apply sometimes. Alright. How do I want to go about... Do I want to Graviton? I don't think I do. I want to get this... So Halcyon Lord's dead. So now I don't even need to dodge the Mind Bolt. And here's the problem with this, this Missile Bay room. It's hard to vent. Like, once you put a room in here, it's a little awkward. Alright, let's move these guys down to shields. I'm getting +3 DPS for every kill. Psychic Shriek here. They have no Purify, so that's gonna be fine. I'm gonna let them in so they all get stunned. And then I'm gonna Graviton. Because these are both Centurions in here, I want them both dead. So I want to focus my DPS on that as much as I possibly can. I'm gonna vent doors. So doors isn't really important on, but, well, okay. More specifically, doors isn't important to have manned on in Battle Arc. You just need it enabled to vent rooms. I'm gonna let this transfusion hit, and then I'm gonna go here. Shield charger. Got some good value. Let's vent like this. I don't want to vent Graviton if I can help it. And then since Graviton's active on my ship, I'll do it like that. And because I'm going in this room, I'll macro here. I don't want to get breaches on my ship. This thing, this is a flare artillery that does a breach guaranteed, and also does damage. So if it hits like shield charger, I'm in a really bad position because not only do I have to repair a breach, I have to repair the system as well. Yeah, no, I was, yeah, just absolutely obliterating this crew. Yep. Alright, 3 decapitators is funny. I could go for the lance, but 3 decapitators is a lot of DPS, and I have the weapon slots to actually use this. In fact, I think if I go 3 decapitators, berserker's unironically better than the Conqueror. If I can support it. That's funny. But I think I'll go 3 decapitators. Alright, let's vent this properly now. I kept like opening and closing it like a baboon. Alright, let's transfuse. Transfuse is like good enough healing on berserkers. Like, you know, it's only 10, but rejuvenate is weird to use on berserkers. Not because it isn't good, but because it's hard to get full value out of rejuvenate on berserkers. Because berserkers, oh hey, that just bleeds through. Berserkers just, they have 30 HP and rejuvenate heals 25, so they have to be very low HP for you to get value out of it, which, you know, just doesn't happen often. Alright, let's put Decapitator on Cannibal. Oh, I could put 2 Decapitators on Cannibal. No, I want a kill effect on Cannibal. Hold on. I want both kill effects on Cannibal. Because Cannibal's gonna do DPS scaling, and I want high base DPS on like a Berserker. Right? And then you can have this, and then you can have Soul Thresher Decapitator. So we get even more DPS scale. No. You're too weak. I'll put the DPS scaling on the other guy with low DPS. And then I'll give this guy good DPS. So what the Berserkers are gonna be doing is they're gonna be killing things, and then what the other 2 crew members are gonna be scaling. So the Berserkers' low HP doesn't matter as much in that case, because essentially the idea is, out of the gate, Berserkers are gonna be really good, but they'll lose their HP over time, right? But they'll get enough kills to make my other crew strong, and then they can just board on their own, and then they can keep getting kills and scaling. So essentially, the Berserkers are gonna act as the gate to get them to be strong. And then the other crew are just gonna allow them to capitalize on the Berserkers. Alright. Let's go to Fury Stars. It's a longer sector for more scrap. And I should probably upgrade that. Working with pretty low scrap here. Alright. And the awesome part about this is I'll be able to, like, do one berserker in each room. And I'll be able to get DPS like that. And then they'll scale in both rooms. So even with, like, boarding like this, it still works. And because I have the Psychic Shriek, if one room ends up taking a lot of pressure, I can just Psychic Shriek the room to preserve my HP. And if one takes too much damage, I can transfuse, so on and so forth. Let's go Shriner Rage. What's probably going to happen is if I get... So it's... The first one, yeah, the first one's not going to have a 2x2s. But the second one probably will. And same with the third one. So first one, I'm just going to launch back into weapons, prevent that from going. Let's interrupt this. I probably won't need Psychic Shriek on the next two, so there's a chance that the second one isn't going to have 2x2 in it, but the third one always will. The third one always has a 2x2. It's always a large Chromic Vessel with a War Knight on it. Now the rest of the crew is like tenuous, it can be whatever. Like I don't know what it will be. But I will know that it's that ship and it will have a War Knight on the second one. Now the third one, but the second one can generate either with the 2x2 or not. Same with the first one. It looks like I just got the same ship here. Yeah. Which is fine. Or, well, not the same ship, but rather a very similar one. Alright, now we can go with our anti-boarding here, right? What else is in here? Oh, Ritualist. You go over here and vent this. Yeah. Alright, let's head to shields? Yeah, shields. And then graviton and shields. Most of the DPS is coming from this berserker, so I don't care about, well, most of the DPS. Cannibal scaled off the last fight. With these multiple fight ones, you'll keep your DPS scaling. So, Cannibal's actually doing most of the DPS right now, although Berserker's still having a lot. Something that would be fantastic to find would be Eviscerator or Thirsting Glaive for the Berserkers, and I think it's pretty evident why. Just to preserve their HP through their DPS, essentially, where they'll be getting a lot more staying power due to it. Alright, let's put Cannibal on that guy. Ooh, that's a lot. That's okay, so this crew doesn't have to be all War Knights, but it can be, and I got unlucky with that. I'm gonna put a macro into there just to disable their armaments. It also does 3 damage to everything, which, you know, cool. These two guys are gonna be stunned for a little bit. Yeah, and then, alright, we got to a Rejuvenate, and then because we have DPS scaling, we should kill the rest of these pretty easily. Yeah. Electro Baton, I already have Stun, or Shrouded Temporal Shroud. I already have this, essentially, so I guess Temporal Shroud. I'm not too happy with it, though. I don't like Temporal Shroud. The first 25 of the seconds of your fight are usually your strongest 25 seconds of your fight. So, like, it'll give you more time, which is nice, but you don't really need it most of the time. Like, if you're having a good build, it's great. Oh, well, if you're having a good build, it does, like, nothing. But if you're having a bad build, it will get value, but you'll still struggle with the fight. But it can give you some time if your build isn't great at this at whatever point in the run you're at. Okay. Shaman or Mercenary Broker? Kinda wanna go Shaman, give this guy like Drain Strength or something. Or Rejuvenate, you know. Could also look for, could also look for, what? Look for a module to make War Cultists tankier. I could do that as well. You know, I could get Ritualist Rejuvenate. I think that's good. I don't want to put it on my... So ideally I don't want to put Rejuvenates on my Magister, because I want an instant cast on him, preferably Drain Strength to preserve the Berserkers. But it's like, it's perfectly good and reasonable to put like healing spells on borders, or rather putting non-insta-cast on borders. It's just not what you always want to do. I'm gonna swap these guys around so I can just easily do this and put them in Watch Bay. And then the other two will go here. Alright. Oh, this is the demonic ship. Oh. You kill. You kill. I guess I'll sabotage their ship until they get the 3 hull, in which case I'll macro lance. This seems perfectly fine to do to me. Or me. Yep. No, there's like a chance I missed. 35%. And if I miss, I'll just use Claymore. And if I miss Claymore, I'll cry. Okay. There we go. Alrighty. There we go. High Magister. Blood Priest. I already have a Blood Cultist. I don't need you. But you're always nice to have, I suppose. Alright, well, we got another Psyker slot I don't really care replacing. Blood Curse isn't too good here. Actually, it's not that bad. I can get a Brawl and then use Transfuse on that. And that'll be useful essentially only for the High Magister, now that I think about it. Because the Berserkers can't get full value from it, although it will always guarantee to heal them the pull. And Cannibal's not really going to get great value from it, because he's most of the time he's just going to be healing off his own damage. So the only one that really benefits from it is High Magister. Which, you know, is still good. And for something that I got for free, you know, it's an advantage. Blood Curse, go! Also, if anything, if I don't use the Thralls for Thralls, then I'll use the Thralls for, you know, free health and damage. No, I want the Conqueror in there. The Conky. The Conquador. 0 damage, but I still get a breach. So I guess Shrouded got a little bit of value there. Shrouded is pretty good into missiles, just to prevent some chip, which, you know, that's chill. But it's about all it... I can't say that's about all it really does, but it really doesn't do much. That's the most it will usually do, though. Although other times you can, if you don't have Shield Charger, I will say it does get a lot more valuable. Because without Shield Charger, you're in a situation where you do want to, like, you still want a way to preserve your HP, but you don't really have the ways to do it. Because you don't have Shield Charger. So when you do have it, rather when you have Shrouded and without Shield Charger, it does mean you'll preserve some nice HP. And it's just enough in time to resist Storm 3. But it can't resist Fusillade 2, because Fusillade 2 has a 27-second charge up time. So it'll never be able to be useful against Fusillade 2, which is arguably the weapon that it would be most useful against. I'll probably get the shop here. I'm not really too interested in the quest node. Although I'm full on systems, aren't I? Yeah. Maybe I'll go there. I don't know, though. I do want an armament, which would be a justification for going to the bottom shop. I'm gonna assist them. Yeah, free stuff. Cool. Neat. Might go to the shop just to sell stuff. Inventory's pretty full. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, ordnance. I'll just sell some stuff off. Okay. Sell that. I don't really need combat shield. Does anyone really benefit from it? No, not really. Didn't use the cryofoams. Also, I got the extra cryofoam just for good luck. I didn't buy it for any, like, reason. Okay, I'm gonna get both of these. Both of them are very good weapons, and I can always, like, replace some around. You have kill effects. You have kill effect. You have DPS. You have DPS. Where do I want to put this? I almost want to put it on this guy, but it's probably not a good idea, because I want to keep the DPS scaling. I almost want to put it in place of where the arc rifle was, and then... I mean, there's no reason to replace Decapitator with arc rifle because they're the same weapon, essentially. But one weapon is, you know, better. More of the time. Decapitator is just flat 4. Arc rifle is 4 DPS, but only in systems. Which, you know, for boarding, it's essentially the same thing. But for anti-boarding, it's a bit different because you'll do anti-boarding in non-system rooms noticeable portion of the time. With that logic, though, shouldn't I put arc rifle on a berserker? And then decapitator on, like, an anti-boarder? Because, you know, my berserker's always going to be in a system. Because they're always boarding. Yeah. I'll just repair. It's fine. I don't really need to put my scrap anywhere else. But yeah, this should be pretty easy kill. Oh, boarded me. Alright, and yep, there's an example of that right now. Oh, great. You're manning doors. I'm a little bit of a dum-dum. But this should do good DPS against them. There we go. I could have recalled to, you know, make that a little bit quicker, but I didn't really need to. And I was curious to see my anti-boarders do their job. So. Okay, let's board the berserkers. I have enough healing that I don't really care about losing too much of their HP. Besides, they're probably gonna just, yeah, they're just gonna kill all these guys. Wow, 1 Mendrone? I'm so happy. I'm gonna use some munitions here with C3. I'll let the ion hit. Well, no, there was no ion. I thought that was ion for a second. Don't know why. Alright, Siege Beam should kill at this point. Come on. No! Damage. How could you? It's probably the most I've used Siege Beam in, like, actual events. Right. Oh, you know what? I'll get power into engines. It's so cheap, and, you know, it's somewhere I can power micro these last 2 bars, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, it's just board. Yeah, so this guy should be going here, right? Yeah, and then the other guy's supposed to be going up there, but he got stunned. Oh no, he's going here. Whatever, I'm going fast enough in either case. I'll let that fire hit. I want to get my transfuse off. You know what, I'll also transfuse this guy. Why not? Do I have any other spells? No. Huh. Sector 5, Imperial. I have Shrine of Rage. Doot. Let us... Hello? I want to just select these two. Let us board into shields. And I don't really want to grab some. I want to... Hold on. I want to blood curse these guys. So I get thralls. And then rejuvenate. Ooh, hello. Let's macro it. It says 4 power left. Actually killing a Warbringer with berserkers on a possession. That's... Oh no, that's... Okay, I'm gonna just... Hold on, I can dodge this. I can absolutely dodge this. I'm gonna regret this when I can just shield charger, but you know. Oh no, the radium did hit first. Okay. It was all for nothing. It really looked like the radium was gonna hit first. Alright, let's recall now. Alright, shield charger. Macro. Should probably be siege beaming here. You know, yeah, it's siege beam is more efficient than claymore. To finish off at least. I should probably put my Conqueror in shields as like just a guy to do anti-boarding instead of having him man a system, which, you know, is making him have to always unman. So let's put you here, and then put the ritualist in there. Yeah. That Corsair is gonna do perfectly fine. Another Electro Baton, hello? I don't need more stun, thank you. I'm good. Ship armament should be pretty good. I'm a little overdue for another armament. Heavy ion mats. Can't use tool slots. Iron Carbine is interesting, where I could get a bunch of kills and shields for the boss and then just like blow off that for the rest of the fight because shields will be disabled. I think I'll get the heavy ion lance though, to enable siege beam for the boss fight if I need it. Probably won't though, but it's a nice precaution to have around just in case if like my fusion charges on scavenger don't work correctly. I get a summon fiend if I do this. I don't want that. Volunteer yourself. Parasite shield, that is not much better. Maybe I should have gotten the summon fiend. The really big summons are usually not that good. They're just... It's not that the summon you get is bad, it's obviously good. It's just it's way too slow. So you end up... You waste a lot of time for getting it up, and even when it gets up, it's like, it's good, but it's not like really worth the time. Particularly here, where I'm using a border to do it, which when I freeze, well, I could have put on blood priest to be fair, but unironically, I think the blood curse is getting more value than Summon Fiend ever would. Because, you know, thralls for healing, and then, you know, 10 damage is, you know, it's always good. Compared to Summon Fiend, where it's just not doing that. It takes longer, and... On it, like, even the crew damage it does is, like, it's okay. Like, it's not bad, it's just not really worth what you invested into it. I'm gonna recall here. Hopefully I was... Okay, he just didn't get there in time. Okay. Lost fleshlings. Alright. Let's move the other guy out. So sometimes it's very finicky on which guys they'll actually target in a room. And that's kind of what happened there. And also with the Graviton, it compounded and made things worse. But, you know, I shouldn't have any excuse for losing my crew there. I probably could have, like, just immediately moved the husk out, predicting if I paid attention to the fact that there was a Graviton. I could have been like, oh, there's Conquerors here. I won't have the ability, with Graviton, I won't have the ability to micro the husk out in time. Because the Graviton wasn't active, I would just be able to move the husk out and everything would have been fine. Okay, hello. Any knots? Macro here? Yeah, he's gonna cast. No! My perfect play! It would have been so good. I'm so upset. I should have Gravitoned early as well. Oh, that's not good. Let's move you here. And then I can't board because they put it in there. At least I get interrupted one, you know. But I did lose my rejuvenate doing that. Okay, well, that sucks. Alright, I'm gonna dodge this normally. If I wanted to always dodge this, what I could do is I can pre-move all of them into rooms that didn't have crew prior with mind control. But is this? Oh my gosh, you're kidding. Run! No, not cannibal. I'm just gonna disable that. I think it goes here. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Let's heavy ion lance. Oh my gosh, am I gonna miss every single one? Alright, let's stall this guy out a little bit. Mind control, 2 seconds. Thank goodness this ship has a 2x2 in it. Makes things a bit easier. So a disadvantage that you usually don't think about when using Transfuse is that Transfuse has a very slow projectile speed. Like, slower than Rejuvenate, I believe. So you have to consider that when using it on enemy ships. Is it... So... Okay, I'm gonna use Rejuvenate here just to see if it actually is slower, because I'm pretty sure it is, but, you know, I'm not actually certain. Yeah, Rejuvenate's probably faster. Hold on, can I just check the projectile speed? 450? 300, yeah. It's slower, so you have to consider that when using it, because it'll come a little bit later than what you expect from Rejuvenate. Okay, well... You break these doors. No, you break those, and then you break the door. The door. I'm just gonna let that hit, not the husk though. Open the door. There we go. Used all my healing there. Not because the fight was hard, but rather I just used my heals very inefficiently. I even missed the one Rejuvenate because of a blood curse going into the wrong room, but you know. This is why healing with the berserkers is going to be great. Because I can always recover when I have healing, and then you can always reboard and make a different plan if you make mistakes. Although, to be fair, even if I didn't have Rejuvenate there, and just had the Transfusion, probably would have been fine. Because what I can do there, even if I have low HP, is I can just reboard with, what do you call it? Just reboard with lower HP and then ground pound, and I can kill the rest of the crew like that. Because I have stun and kill, it should be more than enough. Get Mind Bolt. No, let me equip it, please. This game. I'm gonna get rid of the med drone. But yeah, thank you. I don't want to get rid of the cryofoam. It's good luck. So I'm gonna get rid of the mini shields. Wait, hold on. Can I put the mini shields on someone, please? Granted, I could have gotten rid of the cryofoam and the husk, but you know, getting rid of cryofoam, that's just asking for bad luck. Your run's gonna be cursed if you do that. Superstitions. Alright. Ah, fun little possess ship with no demons on it. Thank you. I love it when my possess ships have no demons on them. Hold on, I have pressure suit on you. I should have been using this. Alright. How do I want to use my macro? I'm gonna put it on that, and then put the heavy ion lance into there, and then Seabreed. Yep. That should do good. I want to get Hull Reaper down 1 level, if I can do that. Alright, and then I'm gonna go sabotage weapons. You know what? Temporal Shroud got some nice value there. I'm gonna recall now. There's a chance that a Siege Beam can instantly kill this ship here if I stay, and I don't want to, you know, risk that. So I'm just gonna recall before the next shot. Translocator. I don't have a crew member I could really use that on. I'll probably sell it. Even I don't really care about getting a crew member that can use it as well, other than Infiltrator. Infiltrator's the one exception to that. Alright, hold on. Let's Psychic Shriek here. Mind Bolt. And then Rejuvenate. Blood Curse. All into this room, because they all funnel through it. Blood Curse hit a little bit sooner. Yep, okay. And I'll just jump to the next one. I can transfusion in the next jump. I have more than enough healing. Yep, let's do that. Yeah, crew contracts. Get some more psychers. Warboarding support would always be good. Hey look, there's Train Strength now. Get Purify, definitely. Purify is like the last thing that you really... Oh, I don't mean like the last thing of like as in it's bad, but like this is the last thing I'll probably talk about that Berserkers really want is Purify. Because if you're boarding into something like Necrobarge, or really anything that has poison on it, they're like lower HP crew members, like the chip damage that you take from like fire and poison, that matters a lot more because they have lower base HP. So being able to resist that is going to be very beneficial to them. That would be cursed. I could buy this High Magister and then put Fireball and Drain Strength on it, or Fireball and Blood Spear or something like that. I do want Blood Spear on something. And I want to keep the Blood Curse so I can feel it through that, you know? You know, I'll get you, and I'll definitely put Blood Spear on you. But I'm not going to use your Etheric Gates. It's like... What do I replace Etheric Gate with? Drain Strength? Or Fireball? I'm going to do Fireball. This is kind of cursed because, you know, Imperial Sorcerer just starts with it. But... And he's also just cheaper. So I essentially made an Imperial... an Imperial, Sorcerer out of a High Magister. But yeah. Alright. I am gonna put fire in the room that I'm boarding into, and I did just say, you know, Berserkers do the chip damage is noticeable, but I'm calculating that the healing I'm gonna get from the transfuses should be enough to compensate. There should be demons on the ship, right? Yes, but also not great demons. Alright, let's use Blood Spear here. Mind Bolt is really good against Necrolurches. Because, you know, Necrolurch is capping your DPS. Not good. So, getting around that through the Mind Bolt is very good. Okay. Let's just... What? Why are you taking so much? It's just, like, there's a lot of DPS in here? Guess so, no. I'm gonna recall and then, well, let's get some value here. Alright, now recall. Purify. Oh, and you just got all your HP back. Okay, now I can transfuse with, always getting the most HP, from the spell, which is nice. Let's Claymore into here, just so if it hit, then they don't get evasion. And they also repair this instead of the throne. The throne, the shield room. Alright, let's go into the throne room, or the demonic cart. I'm just waiting for him to actually get something useful into that room that you can kill for damage. Let's play more again. Should have less evasion, so hopefully this will hit. Yep. Look at all these worms! Wormy ship, oh my gosh. They're actually repairing shields pretty well, because there's so many of them. Uh-oh. I missed. That's not good. How do I guess I'll wait for Claymore. I am getting low on munitions, so I have to keep that in mind. 2 munitions, 3 damage. So, thank you. If I didn't hit there, I think I would have had to have boarded with Cannibal and, like, gone to shields, get some kills in there. Get some sabotage. No, I think I always have to finish with the Claymore there, because I don't think I can get enough sabotage to actually hit them with Siege Beam again. So yeah, no, that was the right play. Alright, let's put a fire in there. Let's heal it, blood curse it, stun it, Mind Bolt you, and then heal again, and then heal again. I want to keep these guys topped up. Hey, look, fire in there. There we go. It's almost like an old incendiary missile with that one fire with no damage. So, old incendiary missile is essentially what that was. It used to be very bad, but you know, now incendiary missile is pretty good because it does not 1 fire but 3. I don't know why I hit that with that when I'm just gonna quick kill. With that in mind though, I should probably just, you know, hit that. And then launch bay over. Nice. Chaos Rift. That's good. I don't know who I'll put it on though. Maybe I'll get a Psyker here and I'll put it on that guy. Yep. Hound would be good against Necrobarge, but, this is Necrobarge, right? Yeah. But, Chaos Rift is gonna be better. 20-second cooldown for guaranteed anti-boarding against boat knights, and putting them on their ship is beneficial to me because I can then use it for sabotage. So that's good. Alrighty. I'll get this guy. Put the repair drones on him. I'll get the armor. Put it on you. I'm not gonna get the expensive armor for him. It's only 10 more HP for over triple of price. I'll get the hull. And I suppose that's it? No, I'll get munitions. Yeah, okay. And now we just take this fight as quickly as we can. Need to be a little careful. Because I don't know what's, you know, on their ship fire-wise, so... I need to be very afraid. Because it's a ship that starts damaged. I don't imagine they're gonna have 5 fires in different rooms. Alright, I'm gonna recall now. And I'm going to Blood Spear sensors so I can scout their ship. Because I don't want to board too long in that ship. Okay. Just fires in here. Alright, now I can... Oh, I can just macro. I was thinking like, okay, now I can board freely and I don't have to worry about killing them. It's like, but just macro. Macro is a lot simpler. Keep it simple, stupid. Alright. Let's get the Graviton level and... Yeah, this will be Necrobarge. Alright, let's put it all into Graviton. This is a very good first kill, the Cyber Priest. I don't have to deal with that protecting shields. And the Pre-Purify protected me from that, which is good. Flushlings over here. Flushlings over here. Let's Fireball here. I'm gonna use Fireball to interrupt stuff. Same with this Blood Sphere. I want to put Blood Sphere indoors if I can, though. Oh, but no, he's pathing out now. Yeah, Fireball's coming there. Do I Blood Spear this just for interruption? It seems like a waste. Let's Blood Curse it. And then use Mind Bolt in here. And I'm gonna save this Blood Spear for something more important. Okay. Well, now I can just kind of place it wherever I want, but I think I'm still gonna do that. I'm gonna recall. I don't need to stay over there. Move these guys out. I don't know why you're still in here. Or poison. Great. I'll wait for the poison to expire and then I transfuse them. Alright, Claymore. May as well shield charger. Alright, let's transfuse here. I'm gonna try to keep these guys alive. I want them for the next phase. Alright, let's put that into evasion. Alright, how do I want to go about this? You go to that empty room. Gladiatrix goes here. Protects the Fleshling from damage. You'll go down here, you can kill that. And I want you out of Missile Bay. I don't really care about shield charger that much. Alright, let's Purify. Because Necrobarge doesn't really need it. I want the phase change to activate, which is why I'm not like trying to interrupt them from repairing shields too much. I just want the phase change to go, the repair, and then what I'll do immediately is shipboard. Alright, now I have Chaos Rift for these. Necro Lurches. I think I'm gonna get the one out of Launch Bay first. And then fight this guy with these two. You move in here. I think it's fine if you move there. All of that just hit an empty room, which is great. Let's repair drone that, hit it into there. And yeah, no, I don't really need to do anything else. I could get shields up, but I don't need to right now. I have more than enough time to just stall and not care. I do want healing here, but I'm not sure how I could do that and get it in time over there. So I'm gonna recall and heal. And then rejuvenate this room. Alright. Then you move all over here. I'll put these two... Actually, no. I want the Gladiatrix to fight this, actually. Because you'll take very little damage from the Necrolurch. It's kind of like a tank fight, if you get what I'm getting at. Where this guy caps DPS and this guy reduces his DPS, so they both have very low DPS. That's why the Conqueror is very good against the Necrolurch down there. Or cultists are generally gonna be pretty good into them. Due to that fact. Alright, now we can go up here. And I'll blood curse this. Fall out of it. And now I can just hit everything. Yeah. This is a pretty chill fight, honestly. Alright, let's go. You go over there. Put a fireball in there. And then blood spear doors. Alright. I'll teleport into the chemical furnace and then I can use blood spear again on whatever I want. Alright. Let's move these guys out. I'm fine with that getting poisoned. In fact, I'll just purify. Although, purifying right now might have been a mistake. It's not a huge one, though. Could have gotten, like, a few more seconds out of it. I'm gonna recall. And put a berserker here. Oh, you're supposed to... You were going in here, and then you're like, oh no, I'm gonna go the other way. I love it when it does that. Alright, let's move these guys out. They're gonna be doing whatever. And then let's heavy ion lance this while I can. Nope, I missed. Alright, Claymore, go kill him. Kill him now. And then I'll like blood spear that as well, just in case. Amazing. Just in case happens. Alright. That'll be Necrolarge. Yeah. So what's the scrap? Still pretty low on the scrap. Well, not pretty low. On the lower side. Of the average. Did Battle Arc. Battle Arc was not too bad. This is kind of carried, ironically, by the Berserkers, I believe. The amount of DPS I was doing. It's really just, you want boarding support to enable your Berserkers, and then once you do, you can get a pretty nice run out of it. Anyway, see ya.